Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to see regarding what are the various theories of learning. It is one of the important topic from the psychology. So, psychologists they are using or they have tried to study the learning techniques, how the individuals are learning. So, how the learning takes place. They have tried to explain in different ways and conducted so many experiments. So, we will be seeing some of the important theories of learning based on their experiments. So, come to the first one, it is the trial and error type of learning. Second is conditioning, learning by conditioning or conditioning method we can say. And the third one is learning by insight or insightful learning. And the last one is learning by imitation. Now, we will see one by one. Come to the first one, trial and error learning or learning by trial and error method. So, this method which is given by E.L. Thorndike or Edward Lee Thorndike, he is one of the famous American psychologists. So, according to Thorndike, the individual, they will be taking so many attempts for learning. These attempts he had termed as a trial. To explain this one, he had conducted an experiment. He made a box, he made a puzzle box, and in that puzzle box, it is having a latch. So, if you touch the latch, the door will be opening. So, what he did, he kept a hungry cat inside and kept food outside also. So, the food like a fish, because it is very much that cat like that fish. So, that is why he kept dried fish outside. So, it was a hungry cat, he did so many trials to come out. He was jumping here and there because of hungry. So, accidentally he touched the latch, the door opened, he came out. So, Thorndike what he did this experiment again and again, he repeated the experiment. So, what he identified, the number of trial reduced during later trials or later experiment. From this, he concluded that whenever the trial is increasing, the error or the mistakes will be reducing and the learning will be a proper one. So, he had given certain theories or certain laws based on this trial and error, that is the law of effect, law of readiness and law of exercise. The law of readiness which says that the learning takes place only the individual is ready to accept the thing. And the second one, law of exercise. So, here it comes related to the practice or use and misuse theory. So, whenever the repeating, the trial is increasing, the learning will be proper and there is a effective learning takes place. And the law of effect. So, the law of effect says that something reward or there should be a response for any stimulus, then only the individual will be satisfied. So, that is the learning by trial and error. Come to the second one, the learning by conditioning. And literally, the conditioning means getting used of or changing or manipulating the environment. So, while coming to the conditioning, again there are two types of conditioning. There is a classical conditioning and there is an operant conditioning. So, come to the classical conditioning which is given by Ivan Pavlov. He was conducting experiment on physiology. Then he identified, accidentally he noticed that by the footstep of the individual, those who are bringing the food to the experimental animal, it started to produce the salivation. So, he did certain experiment with this particular dog. So, he had given certain terms for the food. Initially, he had given the food, he termed as a unconditioned stimulus, there was a salivation, he termed as unconditioned response. So, what he did with that unconditioned stimulus, he paired a conditioned stimulus, that is the bell. Initially, he was ringing a bell, then he had given the food, there was a salivation. Later, what he did, only he was ringing the bell, but by hearing the bell sound itself, there was a salivation. So, he did the experiment by pairing the unconditioned stimulus and conditioned stimulus, and there was a response, the response was salivation. Okay. So, he did this experiment, from that he got certain principle, the principle of extinction, spontaneous recovery, stimulus discrimination and stimulus generalization. So, all these things we are using for a modification of behavior in behavior therapy and we are using as a treatment in psychiatry. Come to the next one, operant conditioning. The operant conditioning which is given by B.F. Skinner and it is otherwise called as instrumental conditioning. So, here the basic concept is the individual manipulate its environment. Okay, that was the concept. He also did certain experiment. He made a box called Skinner box. So, here he kept a hungry rat and it is having a lever. So if you press that lever, there will be food pellet will come out. So the hungry rat, he was running here and there. So accidentally when he pressed that lever, he got the food. So later he continued the experiment. Whenever the rat is hungry, he will go and press the lever and he will be getting the food pellet. So from this theory, Skinner he concluded that there is a concept, that is an important concept we are using the treatment of psychiatry, that is a behavior therapy, that is the reinforcement. So there are different reinforcement, positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement and the punishment. The same thing in the educational setup also we are using. So if the student is studying well, we will be giving a prize or a gift, that is a positive reinforcement. Or if the student is not studying or the next test he is not getting a proper mark, we will withdraw the gift. We won't give any gift, that is a negative reinforcement. Or we will be giving a painful stimulus, maybe physically or mentally we will give some, maybe verbally we will be scolding the student, it is a punishment. So these are the concepts which comes under the instrumental conditioning or operant conditioning. Come to the next theory, that is the learning by insight. So this concept or this theory is given by the Gestalt psychologist. So here what happened, the perception of the individual, okay, the perception of the situation as a whole, or we can say that to emphasize the suddenness of the situation. If we see a puzzle or Sudoku in the newspaper, immediately we will be getting an answer. We will be getting a feeling that, okay, oh, I know this answer. So that is that type of learning which is called as a insightful learning, or that experience we are terming as a aha experience. If you see the newspaper, the Sudoku, immediately we will be knowing, oh, I know this answer. That concept, it is the learning by insight. And the another one, the important one, learning by imitation. That's the simplest way of learning. Most of our behavior we will be learning by imitating other people, maybe eating food, walking, drinking, etc. We will be from the small children, we will be learning or we will be imitating other people and we will learn it. So these are the various theories of learning. Hope you are all understood regarding this one. Thank you for watching this video.